Okay, we're getting ready to tie up this. This is a little crappie killer. All I can say about this little color pattern that we're going to be doing and the little style in this jig. And this is a 1/16 ounce jig head right here. And the colors we used on it was a primer coat of LA Colors in the white sticker. Got the hardeners in it. Makes it a harder fingernail polish. And we started out with a white coat. Then we went with a pink. This is a 5/16 and kind of like a hot pink. And then we finished it up with a 474. This is a clear. It's got the hardeners as well. And this is called jewel tone. He just put a little flake in it, a little purple, a little pink like flake that you can see right here. And then you can use either UV resin to cover the head, or you can use Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. We got our eyes off Amazon, and we use Loctite super glue to put that on. And then you can hit it with UV resin, or like I was saying, Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. Now we're using a pink hackle feather starting out right here on this tie. Now, if you've not seen the videos or know how to cut these, you know, you just go down starting at the top of the hackle feather and cutting that tip end off. This is about 1 inch long that I've got right here, the first cut. And then you end up with a bunch of these, like it's right here. We're going to be using 6 of those, and you just go down through our cutting them, and it's pretty much an entire tail that we're going to be adding to this, depending on the size of hackle feather tails you got. We're using a red Do It thread today, and this is an A, and I like a red thread on this color pattern that we're going to be using. And we'll back up about 1/4 of a way right here, and we'll find our scissors. I got my stuff kind of laying around here today. And the first thing that we're going to be adding is the top part of this hackle feather here. Like I was saying, it's about 1 inch long. We're going to lay it right on top of this tie right here, about halfway up on the shank of that hook, and we'll give him a couple of turns right here and make sure he's in line the way that we want him. That looks pretty good. And then we're just going to run our thread down right toward the bend of the hook. That looks pretty good right there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the bigger V's first in the hackle feathers, just like this. And all we're going to do, we're just going to lay them back a little. We're going to lay them right on the side of that jig, about halfway up again on the shank of that hook. Go ahead and get that one tied in. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get us another one, the next biggest one up. We're going to lay it right on the side. Just building that tail up is all we're doing. And then we're going to get us another one. We'll probably do about 4 or 6 of these on there. And I'm putting the V right up next to the bend of that hook. So it's laying right up next to the bend, and on a 16 ounce jig like this, about halfway up on that shank is where we're locking this in at. I don't want to lock it in all the way up here next to the head right up here. And we'll probably go one more on this right here. I was thinking 6, but 4 should give us a good hackle feather tail here. So we're going to lay this right on the other side, and then we're going to give him a couple of turns, lay all those back, then we'll give some tight wraps in there, locking that in. Just like so. Just give it a nice tail right there on it. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to bring our thread up toward the back of the jig head right here. And this is some of my favorite stuff to tie with right here. This is called Polar Flash. And it takes very little of this, and you get quite a bit of it if you pick some of this up for your ties. So we're just going to go ahead and just get a pinch of it about like this. Right here is all we need. Then we're going to go ahead and cut him off right up next to the staple. That's got him stapled on. Now I'm going to do one on each side of this tie right here, just like so. I'm going to lay it down just like you would be tying in some crystal flash. I'm going to give him a couple of turns, locking him in. And then when I want to get this locked in, I'm just going to wrap this right here. I just want to make kind of a flash body on this. I'm just going to go right down toward the base of where we tied that hackle feather in. Let's give him some nice wraps there. We're going to go around our thread. And then we're going to come up and lay it right down the other side. Just like so. Now at this point, we just want to go ahead and put some nice tight wraps in. Locking this in. And then working our way right back up to the back of the jig head right there. Now at this point, we're just going to cut this off. There we go. And last but not least, we are going to add some green bucktail to this. Now if you go down to the bottom of these longer haired bucktails, you can find some shorter hair to work with. You just have to kind of dig around. You can find some shorter, and it ain't going to take much for this. It is a 1 16th ounce jig. Just a little small section of it will do good. We'll probably have to do some stacking with it. But when you're tying with smaller jigs, that is to be reckoned with. So we got that right there. And now when we start stacking it, I like just laying it in my fingers. Just pinching it up. Just like so. And then I just take those longer hairs and I start stacking them down to just make a smaller, low profile type hair. So we're just going to keep stacking it down. So about right there is what we want. I'm going to measure him right up to the back right here. I want this to come about halfway down on that hackle feather. We don't need much of this hair at all. So we'll just cut him off right here and trim him. And it is pouring the rain outside right now. Now we're going to lay this right up on the back of that jig head. We're going to give him a couple of loose turns and then a couple of tight turns right there. And now all we got to do is just start pushing this around and working it down kindly over the shank of that hook. I'm pushing forward and I'm pushing down, making sure that hair stays in that collar. When I get it so far around, I'll check to make sure. You can see how it's covered the shank. That looks good right there. Got one long hair I'm just going to pull out there that I didn't like. So now all we got to do is just build this collar up. A nice big red collar is what we're going for. There we go. And last but not least, yeah, it's my first tie of the evening. I don't have nothing laid out like I need to. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to add 5 turns to this. Let's make it 6 or 7 on this one. Then we're going to wrap it around our finger, seat that in real good. And then, last but not least, we're going to add our good old trusty Loctite super glue. Put a nice drop right on top of that collar. And like I say in all my videos, it gives it a nice shine look when it once dries. Plus, it's going to lock that collar in and it's not going to go anywhere. green crappie jig in the 16th ounce. I'm sorry I got tongue-tied quite a bit in the video and stuff. It's been a long day. Been out on the river all day, hit a couple river smallmouth fishing, done pretty good. Had a good day out there. And I thought I'd get home and tie a few more crappie jigs up for the box. Bring one of my favorite colors again, another one of my favorite patterns to you guys. So if you liked the video, I hope you give us a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Follow us over on Facebook and Instagram. And also, guys, stay safe out there on the water. And we'll see you right back here at Heels and Gills.